Hey guys, it's the OC with Dallas Cowboys Sports, where your voice matters. Today in this video, I want to get into the defensive line breakdown and review so far in training camp. So guys, let's get right into it. Defensive line, a lot of changes, several draft picks, several also free agent signings this offseason. So I have some notes in terms of what I've seen and what I've heard from sources out in Oxnard, and also just my own personal research and what I think was going on with that defensive front so far. Because we know that last year in the 2020 season, we could not stop the run to save our lives, and which is why the season died, to be honest with you. So starting off in training camp, these were the starters day one. Now it's a little bit different, but we'll get into that as we go. So these starters were the first people to actually get a stab at earning the starting spot. So you would have Basham, which was the signing from the Jets. We've had Gallimore at the 3 technique. We had Watkins, I believe. Yeah, Carlos Watkins from the Texans. He was there at the 1 technique. And then we had Gregory playing on the other side. And so since then, there's definitely been some changes to that front. And of note, Urban, which is the run stuffer that we signed from the Bears, he has replaced Watkins, and deservedly so, in my opinion, because Watkins is just a rotational player. Yeah, he was a starter with the Texans, but he was a rotational player even in that role with the Texans. So never saw him as a guy that was extremely premium coming in and that was going to just dominate snaps. So also Tank Lawrence is on the PUP list, physically unable to perform list, because of the third back surgery in the last 4 years on his back. Mike McCarthy says that it's just a cleanup surgery so that we don't worry about things in the future. I don't fully trust that. I'll give you my thoughts about it. And I've said this before on the show. If you watch Dallas Cowboys Sports, don't forget to like and share and comment if you like content and videos like this. We appreciate it, and it definitely helps to move the channel forward. Tank Lawrence is a fantastic athlete, and had some big years. Had a 17 sack year, followed that up with a 10.5 sack year before he signed his mega deal, $105 million contract. With more than $8 million that was fully guaranteed, somewhere in that neighborhood. Don't quote me on that, but listen, he's had a 6.5 sack year last year. We say COVID, we say Mike Nolan, we say he wasn't used right, and I get it, and I agree with some of that. But listen, this year, he has a guaranteed salary of $17 million. When I talk about Tank Lawrence, and I'm a Tank Lawrence fan, I hope he comes back. But the reality of it is this: he counts $25 million against the salary cap. $25 million. And he's guaranteed a $17 million this year. He got a $25 million signing bonus. He got a $16.9 million salary last year. And so he's up pretty close, if not exceeded, that fully guaranteed amount of money in the $105 million contract that he signed. So I'm going to say this, and I've said this before. If Gregory is not able to really put up significant sack numbers this year, and he's not recovered or he's not as productive because of the back, is lingering, and he's not at 100%. I mean, he missed mini camps. He missed some of the OTAs with this. This is the first time that the Cowboys have disclosed the back surgery. So they're giving him time to heal. They say he shouldn't miss week 1, which I hope he does not miss week 1. And I hope he plays fabulous for us. But on the business side of things, with the amount of investment that we have in a Tank Lawrence, I think that this is a huge year for him. If he does not play well and does not put up great numbers, he could be on the chopping block in terms of a player that you're looking to move and or release. That's my take on the situation, and I think that we'll see this play out. But hopefully, he comes through and he's highly, highly productive, because what's going to end up happening, by all reports and what I've seen, and even highlights from watching training camp video, Randy Gregory is playing out of his mind. And he's going to be a guy that's going to thrive in the 4-3 attack style defense. And he's going to be really, 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 really good against any tackle he plays against, for the most part, barring any elite tackles. And I think that even if there are an elite offensive tackle, he's going to give these guys a run for their money, 2,000%. And he's going to have a great year. And because he's so athletic, he's probably underrated in the run. And he's going to play great in the run as well. So, that's the outtake. So now the Cowboys have to make a decision, I believe, and we're going to see this, I think, halfway through the season, about Randy Gregory and signing this guy, or trying to sign this guy to a long-term deal. Because if you don't do it in relatively quick order, we don't want to run the risk of Randy Gregory having a great year and then hitting the open market. So, now the rest of the line. Gallimore has been playing really well by all accounts. Even from footage I've seen, he's playing fantastic. So I would put him in pin. And also, even earlier in mini camps, Dan Quinn has suggested and made a lot of references about him being, that 3 technique. I think he'll be good against the run. I think he'll be good in getting pressure in passing. I think that he is actually going to be your starting 3 tech. I don't really see much movement there. Hopefully Tristan Hill can get back and compete for snaps, because he's also on the PUP list, physically unable to perform list, going into camp because of an ACL injury last year. Hopefully he gets in here and he gets some snaps. And so I think the Cowboys are going to have some tough decisions to make, which is why all of these preseason games are going to be must-watch games, because it's going to be so competitive, not just in terms of the team concept, but in terms of positions and people competing for their lives for snaps, and also a chance to make the final cuts and make this 53-man roster. Is going to be extremely competitive. And so you guys want to make sure you guys tune in for all the games, because these games are going to be do or die for a lot of these guys. Also, if you look at what else is going on along those fronts, Brent Urban, as I mentioned, he replaced Watkins, which he should. I think that they're going to give Quentin Bohanna the pick from Kentucky, who's 6'4", 330 pounds plus, probably closer to 350. But he's cat quick, and by all accounts, he's having a really good camp. Not only power and even gobbling up Ezekiel Elliott on a few plays, but also in team against Ben DiNucci when Dak was out, making some significant pass rush moves and creating some pressure on the quarterback. So a big, huge human being like that, that's super athletic, it's no way you let this guy go. I see this guy making a team, and I see this guy eventually, in my opinion, working his way into getting some snaps in that one technique right over the center guard position with Keith Urban. But not to discount, guys, because there are more players, and I'm not gonna cover everybody in this video. I'm just giving you guys some highlights and some outtakes on what I think is going on and what I see. You got Justin Hamilton. Justin Hamilton has had a great camp, defensive tackle. They moved him up and down the defensive line. He's played really, really well so far. So it'll be interesting to see what the Cowboys do with him. But again, the telltale sign of what's going to happen with all these guys will be in these preseason games, which in my opinion are going to be some of the best preseason games we've seen in a while, because of the hyper competitive nature with all of these position battles on the defensive line and those defensive fronts. I think that also, Gregory, I think you can write him in pin, playing the right end position. And he may move around, but he's a guy that you're going to put in pin as a starter. Obviously, Basham, is in there, and also was drafted for depth. Not drafted, excuse me. He was signed for depth in the end position in light of Tank Lawrence maybe needing to blow or maybe have an injury. And so I think that obviously when Tank Lawrence is when we get closer to the end of the preseason, you'll see Tank Lawrence take Basham spot, pretty easily. Right now, Neville Gallimore, put him in pen. Urban, I would put him in pen. I would definitely put Gregory and D. Lawrence in pen, kind of as your starters. I think that'll kind of round out your starters. Also, Dorrance Armstrong has had some movement, had some good plays, but I think that, man, it's going to be so deep in a very, very crowded defensive tackle room that, some of these guys that even play well are going to end up getting cut. Some of these guys that have played well and that have had good preseasons are still going to end up being cut because there's that many bodies in that defensive line room right now, and it's just competitive, and you can't keep everybody. So these guys are going to have to try to be elite. Love the camp battles, much improved in my opinion over last year, and so look for this defensive front four to be much more effective and active starting out this year and even the whole season. It's just going to be a preference based upon what Dan Quinn wants to do, and he foresees each one of these guys fitting into his scheme at a certain point in the season or versus a team or scenario. So that's it for now, guys. Don't forget, Boss Cowboy Sports, like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow OC at the OC. 74 on Instagram, and also you can follow me on Twitter, which is the easiest way to engage with me, the OC100 on Twitter. And so remember, like, share, and subscribe on this video content. We definitely need you guys to continue to grow and push the movement forward. Until next time, I'm the OC, and I'm out.